And welcome back to the Create Mod here on Music Free Gaming. It is great to have you here, and I'm here at my mob farm. I've got it turned, well, the farm is on, the sound is off because they're loud. But this is the next thing I need to work on, is getting all of the stuff that these mobs are dropping someplace useful. Step one of this project, I actually finished on stream. What I decided to do is I took all of the drops. Remember, they were going into chests that were over here. Well, instead, I've routed them over this way, and now they're being sucked into these vaults. I've got 7 full-size vaults, 1 for each of the drops I'm collecting. Plus, it turns out I am getting a little bit of extra weirdness because the spider farm occasionally produces skeletons. So I still have a little bit of cleanup I have to do with that. But for the rest of it, though, everything drops down here, which is great for storage, not so great for access. Like all of my farms, or, the vast majority of them, I don't want to go to the farm to pick up the stuff. Where's the fun in that? Especially if I want to automate things like taking the blaze rods or the spider eyes over that way to where my potions are, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a train track. In fact, I'm going to set up a couple of parallel tracks for the trucks to come, pick up the drops, and then take them over. Now, I'm going to do 2. I don't need 2 sets of rail here because I don't have that much volume. It's just going to look better, right? Just the way I've got this set up with the vaults and the buildings and stuff, it just looks better to have 2 sets of track here. Is it going to matter? Yeah, not really. But hey, this is one of those things. It's going to look cool, so we're going to go with it. So the first step was easy. I've got rails connecting over to this side. Not a problem. Pretty smooth. I need to figure out a nice way of bridging this gap. Like with a bridge or something. It's this side that's going to be a little bit of a problem. You see, the track over here is a bit lower. If you see the mini HUD up there in the top left, this is 2 blocks lower at Y67 than up there at Y69. So I need to try to figure out a nice way of, how do I want to bring the rail down? Do I just want to just have it slope down here and then turn? I don't entirely know, so got to figure that out. All right, the track's in. I thought of a couple of different options and decided just to go simple and just go ahead and let the track roll on down, or actually, since the trains are most likely coming this way, roll on up and lead over here to the series of pickup stations, which, let's talk about how that's going to work. For these stations, I thought what would be fun would be to load them from the top, similar to what I'm doing in the factory, rather than coming in from the sides. So I'll have PSIs up here. Sorry, I've got some quartz up there as some temporary blocks, but I'll have a PSI up there, a hopper, and then, or actually in that case, a smart funnel or a brass funnel. And I'll have a mechanical belt that runs across. And I'll set 2 of them across each section for each storage vault, right? So there's this one that'll be for whatever's under here. I forgot what's under here. This one is, that one happens to be magma ball gel celly things. Okay, whatever. Magma cream. That's it. When you need to feel the burn, that's why you've got magma cream. Or perhaps not feel the burn because it's used in anti-fire potions. Fire resist potions. One of these days, I'll get the names right. Today is not that day. Anyway, so I'll run a couple of these over. The problem is those are up there and the vaults are down here. So here's my plan for getting the drops from the vaults up top. Now, this is going to be a little awkward. All right, so the vaults will have over there, you've got some funnels. They'll go onto mechanical belts that will feed into something down here. Now, I was originally thinking that what would be really cool would be to use a water column, right? So just have it dump into the water, feed up, and boom, everything is awesome. The problem is that water columns can't detect when your storage is full or your belt line is full. It'll just keep dumping items there until it can't dump items anymore, i.e. the vault is empty, and basically it'll just keep emptying the vault. So what I'm going to have to do is, rather than use water, I'm going to have to use probably chutes and fans, which I think will work out pretty okay. It's going to be a little annoying, and I'm not entirely sure how it's going to look, but that will get the items up, and I can belt them over. And once they're up there, everything is going to be great. So that's the plan at the moment. So let's go ahead and build one of these things and see what it's going to look like. So here's the bare bones of what I'm thinking is going to work. So I've got the PSIs here over the tracks. I haven't put the train stations in yet, but that will come. So yeah, you can see that going over. My plan is to take these slabs, run them all the way across the belts, so that when you're looking at this from above, you won't be able to see them. And in fact, I may even bring some other stuff around this way, some other blocks, or I don't know, maybe even just go slim with trapdoors. It's hard to say. There isn't going to be a lot of room between, falling down. There isn't going to be a lot of room between each section of these. It's basically going to be sticking out every 3 blocks, really. You can see where those frog lights are. That's where each drop-off point is, or pickup point, I suppose, if you want to look at it from that perspective. So these are just going to line all the way across here. So I think this is going to be okay. I've got a fan blowing up these chutes, and then underneath here, it's just the mechanical belt feeding into a brass tunnel, or brass funnel, excuse me. I will never get that right. Anyway, so it feeds the funnel, gets blown up the chutes onto the track and over across each of those chutes until it sits there waiting for the PSI to pick it up. Now, the cool thing is, because of the way Create works, the vault is just going to dump stuff out, right? It'll just be dumb, really. Yes, I could do some magic with locking and stuff, but I don't need to. It'll feed things out up here and then across the belt. Well, when the belt gets blocked, right, items are going to come across the belt. They'll go to get sucked down into the chute, and if the chute can't take any more, they'll get stuck, and then it'll start to back up down the line. And same thing here. They'll get sucked in when this is full. Actually, then it will go across. It'll fill this first. But it'll back up and back up and back up. And then these chutes will back up and back up. The funnel won't pull anything up here if there's an item on it. And this will just fill up and fill up and fill up and fill up with 16 item stacks. So I'm going to have multiple stacks of stuff just queued, ready to go. And that'll just feed out here, waiting to feed the trains. Or trucks, in my case. So I think... Ooh, that's a witch. I think I may have some issues when I wake up. That's all right. She's fine. Totally fine. Anyway, so that, I think, is going to work. Now, that looks ugly as heck. I'm going to cover all of this up so you can't see it. Since I'm not going to be having the glass windows here, right? Because the original plan was to make this a water stream. So it's going to have the glass so you could see it all bubbling, and the blue in the glass was going to look cool. Instead, what I could do is then pattern this if I want to. I don't know. That'll be an interesting thing to do. It'd be kind of fun. But for now, it's time to get all of this infrastructure in place. All of the infrastructure is in place. You can even see some of the frog lights and stuff still whipping across there. And if you come up top, this is exactly what I was talking about before, where you just get this line of stuff just sitting here waiting to get picked up. Now, this is a little bit of a problem, not because it's broken, just because I don't have a whole lot of spider eyes. And that in of itself is a problem. But hey, AFK for a while, that'll take care of some of it. And I also did come in here and grab a bunch to make sure some of my potion stuff was working. This is all set. So I think technically, except for the train stations, I need to get all the train stations in. But once I get those in, the technical side of this will be done. Well, small problem. I realized I had made a small mistake. Basically, everything was piling up here rather than getting sucked in the way I thought it was supposed to. So I reversed the flow, and now I have balls of items. Oh, this is not great. Oh, this is so not good. Well, I did manage to lose a few dozen stacks of frog lights, but because they despawned while I was trying to frantically rescue everything. But the problem is those funnels don't need to be there at all. I just need chutes. The chutes will stick things up here, right? All I need to do is just come over here. Let me go ahead, flip one of these things on for a minute. I know I've got frog lights, so right there. That'll feed up and will blow up, and eventually it'll get there. I don't need the funnels, and the chutes should pretty well take care of everything. But just to be sure, let's do a stress test. And there we go. So see, the frog lights are backed up, the chutes are all full, and we're all backed up here. That's all it needed. Chutes, not funnels. That's all right. It's all right. Hey, we got it sorted out. And honestly, frog lights are cool. I don't really need that many stacks of them, so having lost a few isn't that big a deal. I managed to save the string and the spider eyes and the other stuff that's a little more important for ongoing crafting and manufacturing. I'm getting some of this decor in place because, you know, it's nice to have a build that looks good, you know? It's matching in with the same style that I used on the spawn towers over there, right? So I've got this going up where you've got the cobbled deep slate and the quartz all around it. Got that on both sides, and I'll wrap the corner just like I did over there. I still need to figure what's happening here, though I'm kind of liking the stripes. So what I might do is just run quartz between them, and go ahead and take the green glass up that I was going to use for the when I had water columns, but still run it in front of all of these, and you'll still get the light through it past all of these chutes. And I think that might give it a nice look. Yeah, I think this is going to work. It's, right, I'd already mentioned the deep slate, cobble deep slate on the sides. I was trying to figure out what to do because I didn't want a big sheet of just quartz. But I still kind of wanted to see the light, right? Coming from the frog lights and stuff behind the chutes. But if I only had quartz coming up to complete this pattern, it just seemed flat and boring. So instead, I just took the quartz out of these two sections, filled it all with glass, and I layered in some cobble deep slate behind the quartz right here next to the chutes, because it fills in a gap, right? It was just sort of, you can see through it. It didn't look great. So this way now, we've got a good good one side of this building. Hey, good news is there are 3 more sides to go. But at least I can take that same sort of idea and continue it all the way across this thing here too. Well, a little building later, and I've got, well, one more side of the loading area done. I'm going to continue with the same theme here. I decided to bring the deep slate all the way down, except for this ribbon of quartz down at the bottom. I still might bring it up like I've got this gap here, but it just seemed plain. I mean, it's a modern build. It's not the most intricate, I suppose, but leaving this open all the way to quartz just felt really blank. So I've got that in place. Now, the other side should be fairly straightforward. It's not in there. Right, coming in here, I'd really like to, like I did on the other side of this wall, take advantage of this column of frog lights. I guess that's my next project here, is to figure out what the heck is happening here. And that's that wall done. I basically just did the same thing I did on the other side. Just ran the glass up. This time, though, there's nothing in front of the frog lights. I left them open, and, you know, I think it works. And then the same thing here, the glass. The deep slate here, that's actually the deep slate from the other side of the wall. Turns out the wall, not that thick. I think it gives a nice little hallway. I mean, it's a hallway to nowhere, but, you know, I think it looks all right despite that. And I've filled in a little bit here. Got some lights in place. These are sitting, here, let me free cam up for a minute. These just sit under the rails. And that is what provides the light up here. So this area, get the light overlay going, remains mob safe because that's sort of important. The rest of this place is all bottom slabs, so nothing's going to spawn in it, except the occasional wandering trader who meanders in. So the last thing I need to do actually is get the train stations in, and then we'll be good. And there we go. All of the train stations are in. I slapped them down here in the middle. Decided to throw some iron trap doors over just to hide them a little bit. They did look a little cheesy there, so I suppose I could put some spruce under this one here in the back, but, and there's a matching one up front, but I think this is going to be fine. Not too worried about that little detail. So I think at this point, this building is just about done. Thought about doing something here along the edge, maybe, but I'm pretty happy with what's here. So I think we'll call it a day. Let's go ahead and hop up here and take a look. The whole compound is looking fun. I did put a little bit of a connecting rod right here between these two spawners and the spider spawner beneath me. Just to, right, if you zip up here, it's looking a little bit better. Oh, and I should probably close off these holes that I made. I was originally going to put the train stations up here, but yeah, that ended up not working as well as I would have liked. All right, now that those holes are patched, this really is done. And I like this sort of cutout. I was thinking for a little while I might completely spread out my spawning area out to connect over here. I did extend it. It used to stop right here. Instead, I did bring it out so it's part of this wall. And I think that's pretty good. You know, there are some other things, other details, things I could do, but really it's gilding the lily. I think we're pretty well done with what's happening here. And man, it's just, it looks pretty nice from up here, other than the shulker monster I have down, well, down there. But all in all, I am pretty happy with this thing. It's just a cool little complex. I love it, man. This is awesome. And that is going to do it for me today. This has been a fun project. You know, it was the redstone can create contraption stuff so fairly straightforward, but it was really fun to get all of this put together, man. This is great. This is what I love about Minecraft is I can be creative, I can be artistic, I can be technical. I love it. And if you love it too, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel for more fun and excitement. And until next time, be excellent to each other. And this is Music Free Gaming, signing off.